when it comes to this time of period of time in your contract cycle, there's always a little bit of anxiety and plays on your mind a little bit. You obviously want to secure your future, make the best decision for yourself, your family, and obviously for the club as well as soon as possible. So for it to be done and dusted is good. It's almost time to put that to one side and move forward now. So yeah, it's positive.
You must have felt popular because I would assume there was offers coming in aplenty from various countries and clubs within those countries. But as a player, it sounds weird, but is it weird when you've got so much option? Would you rather have less choice in a way?
Yeah, look, to be honest, the option stuff wasn't so much the bit that was the difficult bit for me. It was obviously the state of the club that the club's in now, where we are in terms of the league and the way we're playing, the way we have been playing the last 2 or 3 years since I come back to the club. Because obviously it's tough. It's tough for everyone. It's tough for players. It's tough for coaches, staff, fans. It's tough for anyone. They don't want to see the great club that it is where it is at the minute, and we're still working our way out of that. And to be honest, it's going to be small building blocks, rebuilding, little and often improvements rather than an overnight fix. And that's the bit that was difficult for me, because I want to be, in my career, I want to be successful. I want to be part of a team that's challenging to win trophies. I want to keep on improving myself as a player, and I want to be in an environment that does that. So you've obviously got to question that pretty heavily, considering where we are and where we have been the last 2 or 3 years.
You're a loyal bloke you're in team sport, so you're naturally part of a team, you want to be part of a team, but to be a successful athlete, you also have to be somewhat selfish in life to get through things. How do you deal with that when you're sitting there and thinking, can I walk away from friends, for you even family involved, and join somewhere new? Or do you feel also that you've been here 2 or 3 years now, again for a second time, a little bit of it is also a responsibility to give back, or things have happened on all of our watch kind of thing?
Yeah, well look, when you're making a decision, you'd be lying to say that you don't think selfishly at times, because you've got to do the best thing for you as a player. Family comes into it, so you've got to think about them selfish things. But this is a game which is about more than the individual. I think it's not about one particular person. It never is. One player doesn't make a great team. It's a whole group of people that makes a great team and a great club. So for me, yeah, of course. Look, I love this club. I've been here when I was 16. I went away for 4 years. I played some fair amount of rugby. 4 years, come back, and it's not been nowhere near what anybody wants it to be. But if I didn't believe that we could make these improvements, if I didn't believe that the club are making some positive changes for the good of the club, then it might have been a bit of a different story. But I actually genuinely do believe that. And when you speak about loyalty, I believe in a little bit about sticking through the tough times a little bit and coming through the other end. And we're probably still in a tough time, to be honest, but I can see improvements in our game, can see improvements coming in the future. And I believe in sticking it through and coming out the other end.
When you going through a negotiation with what's essentially a club, and on the other side of the table theoretically is your father as a coach, as a leader of the team as well, does that make it difficult? I know he's not necessarily one-on-one with him, but how does that play out for you? Because you obviously want to give your dad a ring at night and go, look, this is what the club said, but he's obviously privy, and does that make it weird, difficult?
Look, I'll be honest, people ask me this about my dad and me throughout my career all the time. Obviously, I spent 3 years with him at Bath. He's in a little bit of a different role here, as in He's got his own part of the game to look after. What I'd say is when I'm at the club here day in, day out, he treats me like any other player, and that's about improving me as a player. It's about improving the team and trying to win games. He's obviously still my dad outside of rugby, but the balance we got there is good. I believe in my short career up until now, he's probably one of the best coaches I've worked under. Under obviously some brilliant coaches as well, but yeah. When people say, is it difficult, is it awkward? No, it's not, because we understand that both of us are trying to do the best thing for the club, for the lads, for the group of people here, for the fans, for the whole organisation. So nothing like that will ever change. It'll always be about the bigger picture there.
You talked about the I guess the group and guys you're staying loyal to. Obviously, there's a large contingent of guys you played a lot of rugby with and international rugby with, but I'd rather ask you about the next generation. There's a large group coming through. There's been a successful academy group. You've had a chance to see them. There's some guys in your position. There's some guys in all positions. How much faith and how much belief do you have in the next generation of Tigers that you've seen?
Oh, look, like, you only have to look at people like Sam Costello and Freddie Stewart to realise that them young lads coming through are going to be the future of the club, hopefully. You need, the way the game's going, you need them guys to come through. You want them to stay here for a long period of time. To be honest, you probably don't want them to do what I did, which is give them the opportunity to go somewhere else, because you might not see these guys again. And I think it's important that, and I think the club are onto it, to be honest, to invest heavily into these young group of lads who been through the Leicester Academy. They couldn't come into the Leicester first team. They're going to be at Leicester for a long period of time. You see any good club at the minute, Exeter, full of lads who come through together. Saracens, the same thing. So yeah, it's hugely important, as well as getting recruitment right, because you always have to look to improve your squad in other areas as well. So when I talk about one of the positive changes, I believe like I said, if the right people do their job, then that'll be fixed as well.
Without going into all the detail, but for you and what you're willing to share or willing to talk about, what are the positive changes have you seen? And I guess, as you said, small steps, but what have you seen in recent times that you think is going in the right direction?
So I see here that we probably need to have a bit of stability within the club. There's obviously, it's been well documented, there's obviously been lots of comings and goings. Look, them decisions are beyond us as players, but as a player you just want to have something to sink your teeth into. You want to have something to be part of it's a bit cliche, but part of a journey to get back to challenging for trophies again. To do that, I believe that you need to stick together, you need to come through these tough times. So I think that's a positive change. That Geordie there at the top, a brilliant club man. You couldn't ask for a more die-hard Leicester guy than Geordie, and the help that he's going to be receiving from his coaches got here, and hopefully again the players are massively important to that, in terms of having the right mindset to come in every day, to get better, to have the right attitude, to go through the ups and downs of the game. There's plenty of them these days. To be a bit tougher, to take more onus and accountability on what we need to do as players. It's probably not been the case, I don't think, to be quite brutally honest. We need to start doing that. I think I've seen positive movements in the right direction for that as well. So you touched it early, young lads coming through. It's a great group of young lads I mentioned too, Sammy and Freddie. Just to have the mindset to keep on getting better, have the right attitude.
Do you think, the club's come under some criticism probably for having a little bit of a head in the sand, maybe not seeing things over the hill. Is that fair criticism? Yeah,
I think it is. I left in 2013. I think that was the last time we won the Premiership. 6 years later, we've stood still, and if you stand still in this game, you don't stand still, you go backwards, and teams overtake you, and that's what's happened, to be brutally honest. And we're here, we're part of it. we're part of what's gone on in the last 2 or 3 years. I tried for myself to be the best player I can be for this club week in, week out. That's my job. I think everybody at the club needs to understand that they have an impact somewhere along the line that doesn't allow us to sit still, doesn't allow us to go backwards. In fact, we should be thinking, how can we keep evolving? How can we keep getting better? And yeah, like people to do their job to the best of their ability. First of all, for me as a player, that's my job, and I'll continue to do that as much as I can.
Away from Leicester, so to speak, you've probably had, I would say, it's been a highlight year in your career. The World Cup was the pinnacle for most. Do you individually feel like you're at the best you've ever been in your own game? I mean, obviously, the results aren't on the pitch for Leicester, that's fine. But individually, do you feel like the best player you've ever been?
Yeah, well, when you said results are not the best, that's fine. That hurts me. It does hurt me, because you shouldn't be happy as a player if you come off losing the game thinking, "Oh, it's all right. I had a good game. I had a good game." That's not the way it should be. It's all about winning as a team, winning as a club at the end of the day. I think for me as an individual, I just want to continue to strive to get better. You look at yourself maybe 12 months ago, 2 years ago, and hopefully you see yourself now and you feel like you've moved on again in your game, and hopefully that'll be the same in the next 12 or 18 months. I think there's always areas you can improve on. But again, I don't want to talk too much about myself. It's bigger than the individual. I think all I can ever do is put myself in the best position to be the best version of me as a rugby player at the weekend. And obviously it influenced the way we play, and try and get the way we play as a fly half to a standard where we start winning games again.
You've obviously you got engaged off the pitch. You settled where you're living. Does that stuff, I guess, also ticking over in the last 12 months, does that all help you, I guess, kind of refocus and allow you to, as a young man here, I'm sure you were much more frantic running around, and the world was, Leicester and everything was all about rugby and drama. Have you allowed yourself, because again, no hiding from it, you are probably one of the more obsessive athletes I've certainly ever seen, but have you allowed yourself to zone out a bit with your life obviously maturing on and getting a bit older? Yeah,
look, probably one thing I've learned is you've got to be happy. If you want to be the best player you can be and get the most out of your career, then you've got to be happy in what you're doing. Otherwise, it becomes unenjoyable. If it's unenjoyable, it becomes something that you usually love doing. It becomes a bit of a chore sometimes, when it shouldn't be the case. So I think for any player looking to get better and be obsessive about the game, you've got to put yourself in a position to do everything you possibly can to do that. Part of that is being happy off the field. Part of that is having your own plan. Part of that is seeing ways you can get better. But I think in terms of being obsessive, everyone's different. People get the best out of themselves by doing different things in their life. You've just got to work that out for yourself. I think probably that's what I've worked out in the last couple of years, what that looks like for me.
So again, without going into it, but you too much detail and I guess sharing secrets, so to speak, but what can people expect now? I wouldn't suggest you're going to give less, give more. You've given all you can now, but what can people expect now from you with your future tightened up? What do you want to hopefully deliver for Tigers fans?
Well, the promise I always make to myself is, and I always have to remind myself of this every day, is, I said it a few times in this interview, the most important thing is I'm putting myself in the position to be the best version of myself Saturday at 3 o'clock for Leicester Tigers, and that will never change, regardless of winning, losing, regardless of if we're 11th in the table or second in the table. Nothing will change there for me. I think I'll like I said, I'll continue to look to get better, and probably that won't be significant things, but it might be little things, and I suppose that's the same for the club at the minute. It's not going to be a flick of a switch, and tomorrow we're going to be the team that are going to go and beat for the rest of the year. We're kidding ourselves, but if we see and feel we're getting better, little improvements, we're building from week to week, we're actually building some really strong foundations in our game, on and off the field. That's what's going to count, because when we get back to the position we know we kind of winning games consistently, them things are going to be in place for us. So I think for the fans, it's a massively frustrating time. Everyone associated with the club, it's a frustrating time. For us as a player, for me as a player, we appreciate every little single bit of support, because we understand what it means to people. Sometimes that doesn't get portrayed when they see us for 80 minutes at a weekend and we're not playing well. But honestly, from the bottom of my heart, and as well, anyway, that I'm certainly giving my best. There's a lot of people here who are doing the same thing, and we'll get there.
Finally, I mean, it's the cliche, easy question at a time like this, but you've been here as a home player and as an away player. The opportunity to call Welford Road home, the opportunity to be a part of what is the most successful and biggest club in England still, in terms of its history, maybe not in the moment. How much does that mean when you're sitting across the table thinking about your future?
It's huge. Look, I played in some games at Welford Road last time I was here, and even this time, where it's incredible, to be honest with you. Once you get that place full, once you get that place rocking, once you give the fans something to cheer about, it's one of the best places to play. You see it in glimpses at the minute. The first half against Exeter recently was the best I've heard it for a while. But I crave playing at Welford Road when it's like that. That's what you want to do as a player. You want to entertain the fans. You want to give them something to be proud of, something which they can come on a Saturday, watch 80 minutes of rugby, really enjoy themselves, but feel part of the club, and they can go away and they can come again the week after and feel the same thing, and it's no different for them than it is us.